Reward is an example of reinforcement. Motivation in a learning environment is motivation to learn. My name is Amina Mustafa. Today, I am answering a question on motivation in the context of reinforcement and reward. Motivation as a concept is a person's drive, the reason why you do what you do. That is what motivation is. However, motivation in a learning environment is what we call motivation to learn. And this is your ability to find academic activities meaningful, worthwhile, and to try to benefit from it. Now, this being said, this means that motivation to learn goes beyond just wanting to learn. This means that motivation to learn is you employing the right thinking skill. This is the quality of your mental effort. You employing being thoughtful, employing the right thinking skill that will allow you learn the material or learn the thing as you're supposed to, your study strategies and so on. These are what motivation to learn entails. Now, after learning, when you've successfully learned all that you need to learn, what will allow you maintain that learning is reinforcement. Reinforcement of any kind, anything that will allow you to strengthen that behavior or that learning is what is referred to as reinforcement, either self-reinforcement, either reward, either praise, whatever it is, but anything that helps strengthens that is reinforcement. Now, without reinforcement, learning cannot be practiced. You will not be consistent in learning to an extent where it becomes a habit. Yes. Now take this example. You're motivated to observe an information, to observe something now. And you've observed it and you carefully process it to store it in your brain, just so remembering can occur. And the need for that information came and you were able to produce that knowledge now, that information. Now, you produced that information or you executed that information and there was no any kind of reinforcement. There wasn't anything to strengthen that knowledge, either from within you, either with your emotions, either with satisfaction, or from external place. I mean, there was no any kind of reinforcement of any sort. Nothing strengthened that information. The likelihood that you're going to repeat that learning for a second, third, fourth time is almost zero, because reinforcement is what will tell your brain, it will signal to your brain that, oh, this thing is valid, and so I need to keep doing it until it becomes a behavior. So once there is no reinforcement, then that learning is not going to be maintained. So in a simple form, reinforcement is what reinforcement is what nourishes learning. Yes, without which learning cannot become part of you. You cannot put it in practice, because for the first time when nothing happened, it almost when you do it for a first time and nothing happens, you push it back into your brain and then it remains dormant until it decays. This explains why you find people who practice something, a profession now, but simply because they've not put it into practice. Yes, for that same reason, because they tried to do it for the first time, there was no any kind of reinforcement, and so that learning was pushed into, you just shove it by the side in your brain, and it remains there until it decays. Remember, decay is something that causes forgetting, and so it stays there for a long time, and forgetting takes place. So for learning, for you to practice learning, you need some form of reinforcement, either from an external place or self-reinforcement. That is what will allow you to practice until it becomes a habit or a behavior. And what I have explained here uh, is something that can be used in so many things that involves learning, almost everything that involves learning, because this explanation is coming from a social learning theory. I have just explained the social learning theory, and if you put it in practice, motivation is what puts you in the right place, in the right frame of mind, just so you learn something. Reinforcement is what will allow you to maintain that learning. Reinforcement is what will allow you to be consistent in that thing. Reinforcement is what will allow you to repeat that thing until it becomes a habit. I hope that I have answered your question. As always, if you find this helpful, subscribe to my channel. If you have a question, do well to leave it in the comment section. But very importantly is to give this video a thumbs up.